My lords, welcome to Development Diary 422, where we're going to talk about the new ambition, Defender of the Galaxy, we're going to talk about Champions Forge, and the new origin, Heirs of the Khan, as we lead up to the Nomads DLC. And first we're going to hear from Cosmogon about Defender of the Galaxy. For context for those who don't know, Cosmogon was the creator of Satana and the Behemoth Crisis Path. In terms of vision, Defender of the Galaxy is about being truly good. Being ready to sacrifice everything fighting so that others may live, and this principle is what has guided this rework. Cosmogon tells us that there are ways to play around being good, but overall he wants to reward players for cooperation and protecting other empires rather than encouraging total galactic subjugation. And as such, Defender of the Galaxy will come with several bonuses to be the custodian, but it will prevent you from creating the Galactic Imperium. I think that's entirely reasonable so far. I mean, Defender of the Galaxy has always been that sort of Ascension perk that you choose if you know that you're not going to take a Crisis Ascension perk. Of course, there's nothing really interesting about it other than you get some damage against the Crisis, which is great mechanically, but it's very much on you to shape your I'm the good guy, I'm going to look after the galaxy routine. This, it feels like, is going to enable that a little bit more. Indeed, the tagline reads, "We will not stand idle. This is not a claim of dominance, but a commitment to stewardship. Through measured action and shared purpose, we will ensure the galaxy has a future worth protecting." As with Crisis Paths, the Ascension perk will become available once you have picked 3 other Ascension perks, and it's inaccessible to genocidal empires, barbaric despoilers, crisis empires, fanatic xenophobes, or inward perfection empires. That's slightly interesting. At the risk of repeating myself, I know I said this in the previous video. Space racists losing out again seems a bit unreasonable, but I do get it. I think it's probably quite reasonable that fanatic xenophobes can't be Defender of the Galaxy, nor inward perfection empires. I think that's reasonable. Obviously genocidals, etc. shouldn't really get the option. However, what if I'm a fanatic purifier and I've already purified the galaxy? It's just me and my people, it's just us in the galaxy, but I want to defend it from, other people. I'm just saying, Defender of the Galaxy. Anyway, so it looks like Defender of the Galaxy, the rework is going to give us the Crisis Path UI, just as we get with Nemesis and Cosmogenesis, etc. And we can see that on screen now. While the ambition does not outright prevent you from being slightly evil, progressing through it will go faster if you can work together with the other empires of the galaxy and eliminate any arising crisis with extreme prejudice. Okay, so this is how we progress it. You form alliances, you be part of a federation, you don't take part in wars of aggression, spelling mistake there, literally unplayable. Contribute to the galactic community, destroy crisis ships, and destroy crisis countries. As you progress through the ambition levels, you can expect to unlock the old opinion modifiers and damage versus crisis empires, but also buffs to federations, the galactic community, diplomacy, and defensive structures as a whole. Here are some examples. Political leaders unlocks the ability to build some structures in allied systems. Ooh! That's cool. Some structures in allied systems. I wonder what gateways, probably. Oh, I mean, you'd assume gateways, maybe deep space citadels? That would be pretty cool. Fortified stations. This is a defensive station buff. We're getting hull, armor, and shield hardening increases. Comrades in arms. Federation territory fire rate, Federation monthly experience, and Federation fleet capacity all increase. Highest office. Unlocks 4 special custodian resolutions in the galactic community, and no secret. Research sharing from agreements is increasing by 30%, and resources produced by researchers is going up by 10. Your allies will give you the strength you need. That is really quite interesting. I wonder how they're going to separate, or if they are going to attempt to separate, the difference between having a federation and being a member of the galactic community, perhaps even custodian. Because there is certainly an overlap there. If I'm in a galactic union with 7 or 8 other empires, and then we join the galactic community, there is a fair amount of overlap there. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out, if that changes at all, or what quite goes on with that. After becoming the Custodian and creating the Galactic Defense Force, you will be able to begin the Paladin Initiative, eventually unlocking unique ships manned by remarkable commanders. More than weapons of war, these ships and those who man them will stand as symbols of hope to inspire the rest of your galaxy and lead your forces to victory. Oh, okay. The white and gold ship. With the passage of the resolution, the Paladin Initiative is no longer a theoretical construct, but an officially sanctioned project. This marks the beginning of a coordinated effort across member states to develop the doctrine, personnel, and material standards necessary for its realization. While countries will be handling the recruitment of their paladins, we must oversee the development of a new series of top-of-the-line ships for them to use. Okay, cool, so we're going to get a completely unique ship set for this by the looks of things. They might not be as fearsome as a behemoth, but together with your fleets in the GDF, they are more than up to the task of slaying the beast. Mammalian figurehead. Okay, this is what is happening. A single paladin ship will not be a game changer, but with support and a stalwart commander, they will lead your forces to victory. Okay, so this is a bit like a destroyer. We've got, well, I guess it's a mix between a destroyer and a cruiser. We've got a large weapon, 2 medium weapons, and 2 point defense. Its design is mammalian figurehead, which is odd. We've got this brand new component in the bottom right hand corner. I'd bet that's an aura, and that this ship is going to give us some sort of fleet-wide or system-wide fire rate bonus or something like that. That would be my guess. Interesting looking ship. Paladin ships have many unique abilities, the basic ones being the Paladin Aegis, which fortifies the Paladin ship in battle. Okay, that's quite cool, but not particularly useful to your fleet. The Lance of Valor, which deals damage scaling with your diplomatic weight. What? How does that work? The power of the power of the shroud compels you. That's okay. We're doing damage scaling with diplomatic weight. That's both funny because it's a bit silly, and also very dangerous because depending on how that's tuned, diplomatic weight can get really bloody high. Okay. And recall, which lets a paladin ship retreat from a dangerous situation. Okay, so like an FTL jump. Maybe it's like a really good FTL jump. Additionally, the ship will receive a 4th ability depending on the leader commanding, and can unlock a 5th one through resolutions in the Galcom. You'll be limited to building 1 paladin ship, but every member of the Galactic Council will also be able to choose their paladin. And should the situation be grave enough, the Galactic Custodian has the power to assume direct command of all paladins. Okay, there's a few things to unpack there. Additionally, the ship will receive a 4th ability depending on the leader. We've sort of been directed that the leader is going to be really important. It can unlock a 5th one through resolutions in the Galcom. Well, that's quite cool. So we can potentially have 5 abilities at once, a bit like a hero ship. I think that's what I'm reading from that. So we can potentially have 5 different buttons we can press. Very interesting that we can only build 1, but every member of the Galactic Council will also be able to choose their paladin. Now you can increase the members on the Galactic Council, can't you? That's, which I normally would never ever do. Why would you? Limit the power as much as you can so that you can control it, but clearly that's the opposite of what they want to accomplish here. The Galcom will be an important tool to defend the galaxy. So we're showing the Paladin Initiative and then a bunch of resolutions. Synergy, defense, offense, leadership, direct command, I guess is where you take all of them. A commander will be promoted to Paladin upon being assigned to their new ship and receive a new leader trait as well as a class trait. They can be retrained to receive the class of your choice, but that is an expensive option. Okay, so you will promote a member of your Admiralty, I guess, to the level of Paladin. They will gain a random trait. In this case, we've got Architect, which reduces ship upkeep of fleets and system by 15%. Oof, wow, that is 15% is a lot. That's Precursor Relic level high. That's really strong. Assuming that you have one big death ball anyway. How do I win as Defender of the Galaxy? Simple. Reach level 5 of the ambition, defeat 2 endgame crisis, and make sure there are no other crisis empires alive, then abdicate your custodianship. After all, with no looming threats, there's no moral reason to hold on to the extraordinary powers you have been granted. There is still good to be done, so you won't need to stand above your peers to do it. Oh, and for the impatient ones, you will be able to risk it all and bring the 4th endgame crisis early in order to complete your ambition, and if you're bold enough, you might just see 2 of them at the same time. Okay, that sounds exciting. I quite like the win condition there. I think it's quite simple. I'd somewhat question the defeat 2 endgame level crisis. Why not have defeat all 4? To my knowledge, you can't just have 2. You either have 1 or all. You can't just have 2. So I guess let's say you set it to all and you defeat the first 2 and then you abdicate in the gap between the second and third one spawning, you win. That strikes me as a little weird. I personally would have set that up so that you have to defeat all 4, because I feel like that's the point. I feel like a lot of the win conditions for people these days is defeat all the crisis and that's job done. I do quite like that you have to abdicate to do it though. I think that reinforces it. And from the sounds of things, if you're bold enough, you might just see 2 of them at the same time. That sets up an interesting question, because that's like the firefighter that starts the fire so that they can be the hero. That's certainly not Defender of the Galaxy. That strikes me as someone who's not going to abdicate their position of power. All of that looks really exciting. I'm quite glad we're getting a new ship type. I hadn't anticipated that we were only going to be able to build 1 of them. And I do wonder what these auras are going to be, because they're going to have to be... I mean, to be fair, that ship upkeep one was fantastic. So I'm assuming if they're all that sort of level, it's going to be quite important to look after that ship, isn't it? It is a bit lackluster, considering we can only have 1. It's a bit weak. I mean, I guess we haven't seen the statistics. It could be really powerful, but it's only got 3 weapon slots. Is that, am I being unfair here? Is it a little bit underwhelming that we only get 1 and it's that weak? I'd imagine that we'd get fleets of them. I feel like if you only get 1, it needs to be a Juggernaut or a Titan or, you know, something much meatier. I don't know. Maybe I'm being overly critical. Certainly the commander trait seems to make up for that in terms of power. By all means, my lords, let me know what you think about that. Do we feel positive about Defender of the Galaxy changes? Let me know in the comments. And we'll move on to the new origin, Heirs of the Khan, and Iggy brings us this one. Iggy tells us he knows what fuels us. Not to be the good guy saving the galaxy, not taking care of demanding passengers, or discovering your spiritual roots out there in the galaxy. Know what truly drives you is revenge. I think Iggy might be onto something here. In Heirs of the Khan, you were once a member of a marauder community. After endless service, it was finally your people's turn to lead the United Clans, only you were betrayed. Now exiled, you have to avoid hunters, not the hunters, just hunters. Let's read the origin description. For as long as there has been a Khanate, our clan has been there. We were there for triumphs, the great battles, the rise and fall of Khans. So when the time came to name a new Khan, we stepped forward to claim the throne we helped to forge. This was to be our moment. Instead, we were betrayed. Our closest allies turned the other clans against us. Our elders were slain. The dream we bled for was stolen. Even now, the usurpers dispatch their enforcers to hunt us down, as if our very existence offends their stolen rule. We are but remnants of a proud lineage, hunted and scattered. When we return, our vengeance will be tempted in the fire of our rage. Khaleesi, huh? One of the first things you will notice when starting your Heirs gameplay is a special military contract somewhere nearby in the galaxy. Similar to Forever Cruise, this is a unique contract for Heirs Empires. It will be key that you complete these contracts whenever you can, for you can see the Marauders will be sending fleets after you, bounty hunters who will only grow stronger each time you defeat them. By completing these contracts, you'll weaken them and survive to fight another day. Okay, cool. I like all the stuff in the background of their transmission. You talk a lot for a dead Alari. Yeah. Hang on, what is there anything here that looks exciting? We've got two fantastic looking swords. We've got the bust of a dead alien, a statue of another alien, an alien looking skull, a couple of gemstones. Huh, got some cool stuff. The Hunter's fleets will be a constant threat and opportunity for you until you reach the mid-game year. Instead of the event that you are used to from Apocalypse, you are instead involved in the process of selecting this new Khan, and it might be you. Okay, so you survive for the first on default settings, 100 years, and then when the Rise of the Khan starts, you're involved in that. The cowards to banished us. I've found another spelling mistake. The cowards to banished us is moving at last. The cowards who banished us are moving at last. Anyway, they gather to appoint our foe as the new Great Khan. If our exile is to end, it must end now. We have 10 years to challenge them before this consolidates their power and forever stains our legacy. Set course. It does look like a comfortable throne, doesn't it? If you manage to survive the overwhelming firepower of the Great Khan's vision and assembled fleets, you might just get to sound the drums of war. Let us sound the drums of war. This is quite a fat looking Khan. I don't want to call anyone out here for their weight, but I expect my Khan to be a little bit more trim, not this big fat guy. I'm thinking I want more of a Jason Momoa type Khan, or insert big muscly guy with a big axe. Now being the Khan is hard work. You have to go out there, gather satrapies, and the other empires might not be happy to help you. Thankfully, your new friends will supply you with reinforcements, and you have access to civics and traits traditionally reserved for the Khan. So the leader gets access to the Great Khan Destiny trait, making them immortal. Well, the Khan definitely isn't immortal regularly. The galaxy might band together to try and stop you, but that is because they don't understand your great vision. Is that the case? Being the Khan is a full-time job. It is incompatible with other ambitions like Defender of the Galaxy and Behemoth Fury. But once you have survived the gauntlet, that is the early game, you can be your own mid-game crisis. I mean, yeah, that all seems pretty reasonable. Take revenge on the galaxy. What do we think about that so far, other than the fat guy being the Khan that I'm really unhappy about? I think this could be really fun. I'm not sure that this is an origin that I will play over and over again. I'll certainly play it once and then see how it plays out. But having the opportunity to be a crisis sounds like a lot of fun. I think this is a really good addition to the game. This would be really interesting to play in a multiplayer setting, actually. If you have, I don't know, let's say 10 regular players playing regular empires, and then you have one person playing as the Great Khan, and they play as the crisis, if you like, and you have to try and defeat them. That could be a really interesting multiplayer setting. I think this is the sort of origin that will be an awful lot of fun to play once or twice, and then I'm not quite sure how much replayability it'll have. Maybe it is incredibly fun just butchering the galaxy over and over again. It remains to be seen. Although I repeat, I would like a more trim Khan. I mean, it doesn't even have to be a male Khan. It could be a Xenia warrior princess type Khan. I like my Khans a little bit trimmer, I think. Actually able to swing a sword. Alfrey is coming back to us with another intel report on Arkships. The military class Arkship has been decrypted, and we're getting a look of those on screen now. Unlike the other two Arkship classes, military Arkships are outfitted for combat from the start of the game, and they show us the XD489, which is one of my favourite empires, the Determined Exterminator Machine. Military Arkships have extra weapon slots that update automatically with newly researched weapons. That's cool. So they get some medium slots at tier 1, medium and large at tier 2, and large at tier 3. It's not obvious to me if that's additive, if you get all of those, or I'm not going to make any comments about how many guns ships have, because we've made that mistake before. In lieu of gaining access to various abilities, military Arkships have additional weapon slots that are automatically equipped with appropriate weapons. That's a tiny concern because the AI does not pick appropriate weapons. As previously teased in other development diaries, Arkship systems allow you to equip the Arkship with a variety of defensive and utility components, from regular ships, including auras from Juggernauts, Titans, and Starbases. Very cool. I mean, the best one there is going to be the Target Acquisition Array. That increases your ship's weapons range by 40%, which is by far and away the best. In terms of defensive components, each of the below equips the Arkship with 3 large or auxiliary slots, of the latest components from their respective category. The Shield Amplifier and Ancient Shield Recharger provide shield, health points, and hardening instead of equipping components. Okay, and now we can see, in addition to the utility modifiers we've been showing off, Arkships can also equip weapons modules. These equip an appropriate amount of turrets, depending on the turrets the weapons themselves use, automatically upgrade with your latest technology. It's interesting that they've redesigned a lot of the icons for this. Have they redesigned them or are they new? I'm not sure if they're new. I think some of them must be new. Maybe these are actually in the game files and we just haven't seen them in years. Some of them look really cool. Of course, Arkships can't be outdone by a Titan, so they also have the Devastator mount. Ooh. So great is its power demand that a single shot plunges millions of households into darkness for several hours. The decision to fire is never made lightly. Oh, it's talking about households on the ship. I was thinking that reads really oddly. Surely you're just going to kill your opponent, not going to turn off their electricity. It's talking about electricity on the ship. So this is a very beefy Titan component slot. This 7,500 to 15,000 damage. That's pretty big. And it has a 750 collateral damage to all ships within 50 of the target. Oh, that is massive. That is a huge gun. Does increased 50% to shield armor and hull. This is a big gun. This is probably the strongest gun in the game. That is powerful. And then we are shown an arc ship, a military arc ship, with some psionic bombers, row launchers by the looks of things, maybe some laser cannons. This is going to be a beefy ship. Although I'm not sure if it's me, or its hull, armor, and shields not that high. Its damage output is relatively high, but I'm not sure its hull, armor, and shield are. I mean, you could kill this relatively quickly. If you were a competent player with a proper fleet and you caught this off guard, you could delete this very quickly. 10,000 hull is nothing. For context, the Juggernaut has 100,000 hull. So this is not a powerful ship in terms of defense. It's very vulnerable. Arkships can have the full spectrum of fleet stances for their combat behavior, but are always equipped with a combat computer with unique Arkship tactics. The Arkship will stay at maximum engagement range of its weapons. The ship can be controlled in combat. Interesting. Evasive and passive will flee hostile targets. Passive when below 75. Aggressive will flee hostile targets. Passive and aggressive seem to be exactly the same. Am I misreading that? I think passive and aggressive seem to be the same. Okay, moving on. Finally, all Arkships, except those operated by the Forever Crews, have the Ordnance Engineering District. This military district normally provides soldier jobs but can be specialized with any of the following depending on your technologies. So we can get engineering, which increases soldier jobs and housing, military research, which increases engineering research, shipwright quarter, which gives us building slots, naval cap, gives us some soldier jobs by the looks of things, increasing ship build speed, that's cool. Void Forge looks at armor hardening and hit point per fabricator. I'm sure that they were doing away with these per 100 jobs, but apparently not. We've got flight decks, which increases strike craft damage per 100 warrior drones, laser capacitors, increasing energy weapons damage per soldiers, and then the same for kinetics and missiles. I'm sure that they said they were doing away with 100 modifiers per 100 jobs. Okay, so now we have base stats by tier of the Arkships. So base HP for a tier 3 Arkship is 10,000. I think that's really weak. Am I crazy? Or I just think that's really weak. If you have a couple of battleships with a focused arc emitter, they're just going to delete this thing. I mean, or a couple of torpedoes. Yeah, real interesting. Now we move on to nomadic warfare, which we sort of touched on at the end of last development diary, and I remember thinking about quite a lot about how that was actually going to work. I had quite a few of you in the comments saying, well, King, they're just going to vassalize people. That's going to be their goal. And I'll be honest, vassalization hadn't even popped into my mind when I was recording the previous video, but it does make sense. It just feels a little bit lacking. Does it feel a little bit lacking? Maybe I think it feels a little bit lacking. Vassalization is fine. It's a fine and reasonable war goal, and it's very powerful indeed. But I guess if that's all they can do, that's all they can do. I mean, we're going to find out. Maybe I'm wrong. I'll stop speculating and I'll start reading. Grunts at Work is going to deliver the chat about war. Arkships are colonies. However, as they are not planets, they can't be bombarded, nor can they be invaded. If you wish to take out an Arkship, your only option is a good old honest ship combat, because their damage to hull is equal to devastation. So does that mean I can conquer Arkships as a non-nomad and then cruise around? I am afraid not. Even if Eladrin thinks it would be hilarious, Arkships are only ever available to nomads. Neither can you use a conquered war goal against nomads, as there is nothing to claim. Okay, so what war goal can we use? Is it just total war because you just destroy them? You can't vassalize a nomad, can you? How would vassalization... I should just keep reading. For non-nomads, the general flow will always be similar. Once you reduce an Arkship to 0 hull, they will become disabled and drop out of combat. At that point, we will intervene in the background. For normal empires, the Arkship will simply remain disabled until the war ends. Once the war concludes, we re-enable the Arkship and it will be dealt with according to your war goal. If you are a genocidal empire, it will blow up. Okay. I like that. It's a bit weird that you have to wait. Why would you have to wait? Anyway, what about non-default empires? Critters, leviathans, and similar creatures will disable your ship at 0 hull, and your Arkship will escape to a nearby safe system. Oh, I don't like that. That's really... Oh, no. You'll get reduced to 0 hull and your Arkship will escape to a nearby safe system. That's terrible. You should be punished. Your Arkship should be deleted. None of this hand-holding nonsense. I don't like that at all. I think if you... Considering that you can control your Arkship in combat, if you enter a system and you're not paying attention and there happens to be a Stellar Devourer in there, it should be able to destroy your ship and you should be punished for it. I'm not a fan of that escape to a nearby safe system when you lose. I don't like that at all. Because remember, you can control your ship in combat, so it's not like you get your ship locked in combat and there's nothing you can do. Not a fan of that. Endgame Crisis will destroy your Arkships, no exception, absolutely as it should be. But what about the other way around? What about a nomad conquering a planet? You will not be able to make claims and conquer planets, you will be able to invade and occupy them, but like any proud nomad, you will release these filthy balls of dirt once the war concludes. Instead of conquering them, you can always vassalize planet dwellers, but what if you require a more permanent impact upon them? Genocidal nomads, or nomads using total wars, cannot occupy planets, however any planet they invade will immediately be split off into a vassal. These can either be proper vassals or aptly named purge vassals. Purge vassals are temporary existences who will only exist as long as it takes them to purge all pops on the planet you have conquered. Once they have finished purging, they will transfer over any resources they generated, as well as passing on purge unique effects like necrophage or galactic nemesis. For the keen-eyed, there is a case we have not covered yet: nomad on nomad violence. Nomads are perfectly capable of taking over Arkships from other nomads. Okay. To achieve this, we recommend the new Nomad raid Cassius Belli, which allows a nomad to take over any Arkship and way station that they have successfully disabled. In addition, nomads have easier access to the subjugation Cassius Belli. As a reminder, normal empires need to be superior on average across the three values: economic, research, and military power. Nomads only need to be superior in militaries to subjugate other empires. But what if I'm a normal empire and one of those nomads is encroaching upon my borders? In that case, you will gain access to a new Cassius Belli to expel them from your borders, which will delete all of their way stations, move their ships out of your system, and actually force them to respect your closed borders for the duration of the truce. Okay, how do I feel about all these things? Let's talk about nomad on nomad ship combat first. That is cool. I like the fact that Nomad A can fight Nomad B and take their Ark ship and use it for their own. I think that's cool. Nomad on planet, so they get the option essentially of subjugation only. I think subjugation only, thinking about it, there's nothing else they could do really. I think it's fine. I do think it's slightly odd that we can't have both nomads and planets together, and I think that is inherently why we have these kind of clunky war mechanics where, like, why wouldn't the Great Khan be able to take a planet and keep the planet? It's for mechanical reasons, right? I don't know, that just feels a little bit clunky, but I guess I can get on board with that. And then we've got planet against nomads. You will gain access to a new Cassius Belli to expel them from your borders, which will delete all their way stations and move their ships out of your system. What if I just want to destroy the Arkship? What if I'm a regular empire and I want to destroy the Arkship? I don't think I can. I'll just reread the section. For normal empires, the Arkship will simply remain disabled until the war ends. Once the war concludes, we re-enable the Arkship and it will be dealt with according to your war goal. If you're a genocidal, it will blow up immediately. But it doesn't say anything else. So a regular empire can claim, they can subjugate, they can liberate. And I guess when they unlock that silly tech, they can do total war as well. It seems to me, and I may be misreading this, if I'm a planet-based empire and a nomad keeps coming into my system, so I think, right, I don't want to deal with these guys anymore, I just want to kill them. You can't kill them, because you can disable the Arkship and it will just disappear into the ether by the looks of things. It won't die, and then you'll get a 10-year truce, and then 10 years later you just have to deal with this again. So I guess the two ways that you could deal with an irritating nomad is have this new Cassius Belli which expels them, which will just be like the Megacorp one, where you expel their irritating crime buildings and then they just come back again and you have to repeat this frustrating cycle. Or if you're stronger than them, you subjugate them. But if you're not stronger than them, then it puts you in this really awkward position where you just can't deal with them. I'm not sure about that. I think planet empires should absolutely just be able to say, screw these guys, I just want to kill them. Because we can do that with planets. If there is an irritating planet, we can just claim it, take it, delete the enemy empire. I appreciate that we don't necessarily delete the people. The people still live on our planet. But you still remove that empire from the game. I mean, I think we're going to have to see how it plays out. I feel like a fair amount of this is up in the air, so I'd appreciate your feedback on it. Am I on the right train of thought here? Or have I missed something, like I forgot to talk about vassalization last week? Interesting, isn't it? What the situation that I would really like to avoid is that of Criminal Megacorp, where let's give an example. I'm the United Nations of Earth. I'm a sort of good guy empire. There is a nomad that is irritating me. It's coming into my systems. It's strip mining them. It's being a real pain. It's taking my resources away. If the only option I have is to expel them from my borders, which just moves their ships out of system, and they get a 10-year truce where they can't come into my borders, that's not good enough. Even the most friendly empires will still deal with threats in an aggressive manner if threatened properly. I think we should be able to have the option. I mean, I'm thinking like a claim Cassius Belli, where I want to destroy this irritating Arkship empire. I guess that's just subjugation, but I don't know, it feels a bit janky. Anyway, let's move on to the Champions Forge Live. Lithoids, organics, and war machines across the galaxy. Welcome to Champions Forge Live. Iggy is back as your presenter for the greatest show around. Our latest Enclave is focused on delivering glorious free-for-all arena battles to entertain the galaxy. So the Champions Forge is the new Enclave. Like most Enclaves, they have many purposes. However, these guys specialize in lighting up the galaxy and forging legends. Every 20 years or so, they will invite the greatest forces to join in and prove themselves. The Champions Forge Live is the galaxy's premier source of spectacle and destruction. The entry requirement is a fleet of 25. Victors take rewards, the prestige, and the CFL trophy. You want to forge a legend? Sign up. These guys are nomadic. Like any well-respected combat sport, the CFL has weight classes. Starting out in the early game, you can only send in highly optimized strike forces. However, in the late game, entire armadas can be pitted against one another. And don't worry about losing your fleet. The CFL will ensure that most of the ships make it back. Okay. Oh, it comes with a special relic, the Champions Forge Live Trophy and 5,000 trade. We even get a cut of the commercials. The Champions Forge Trophy gives diplomatic weight from fleet power increased by 30%. That's pretty something. And the active effect is Raise It High. Our next tradition costs 1 unity. Wow, that's really good. Now you will have to return the trophy when it's time for the next tournament. Some of you might be thinking that if you shoot down the CFL before then, you might get to keep it. Just know that I thought of that. As for the other services the CFL can offer, for the right price, they will let you decide where the next tournament should be. You can prepare your fleet for pulsar combat. Interesting. They are willing to sell combat data on your rivals. If you're a nomad, they'll introduce you to nomadic paragons, which we come on to next. This looks like a really fun addition, doesn't it? It's going to be very interesting to see how in-depth the Enclave is, but this looks like a really nice, interesting, sort of filling out the galaxy kind of vibe. I think that looks really cool. Okay, next up we have the Nomadic Paragons. I'm always a sucker for Paragons, and it looks like we're getting 6. The content designer Nelly brings this to us with a shout out to Chad, our managing design lead, for bringing them to life. The first Paragon that we get to look at is Aran Veith, a scarred survivor of a purged world, wielding tireless discipline and swearing vengeance against all who commit such atrocities. She has the Oath of the Remnant Destiny class. When she is command, the trait effects increase 5% up to 25% for each purge committing empire defeated in fleet combat. She will attempt to hunt the instigators of her planet's annihilation with patience, and every purger they defeat tightens their oath into something more powerful, stacking their trait with each victory. Okay, so she gets a 5% buff for each purge committing empire defeated in fleet combat. These art concepts are wicked. Look at the guy with the gun. He looks really cool. He's got a shotgun. Oh, wow. These guys look fantastic. For the longest time, they had a rifle with which they would snipe the evildoers who had committed genocide on their planet. We eventually decided to go with a bladed weapon so they would get their revenge up close and personal. I like it. Moving on to Ashar, the Wandering Sage. Ashar wanders like the stars, teaching that true wisdom flows like starlight through the void. Ashar is a robed wanderer who held a senior councillor's seat at royal court for many years, then walked away from it to chase wisdom. She teaches that truth must remain in motion, and that Arkships are the first ships fast enough to keep up with them. Ashar looks very fancy, doesn't she? I like that she has psionic powers. Her destiny trait is Weightless Guidance. While Ashar serves on the council, Elite's job efficiency increases by 3% per Death Queen skill level, up to 15%. Wow! Elite level build, eat your heart out. Moving on to Ciro the Younger. Once the curator of a Grand Archive, Ciro the Younger abandoned its endless vaults to seek a nomadic life. His journals overflow with the sketches of worlds that breathe, grow, and change. This guy's a little nerd, isn't he? I like that he's got a little bug inside his tank. That looks wicked. Ciro will bring 300 living specimens aboard your capital Arkship the day he signs on, and his deep scans reveal what ordinary surveys may miss. So his destiny trait is Life in Motion, increases survey speed by 20% and improves deep scanning, and allows deep scanning of habitable planets. Wow, okay. Very cool. Now we have Unit Solace the Caregiver. It's unusual that we get machines. Okay, Unit Solace the Caregiver is a bit creepy. They're holding a little baby alien and feeding it, and the little baby alien has a teddy bear. When his people embraced synthetic perfection, Unit Solace chose exile to remain with his ailing son. Oh, okay, that's sad. Now he wanders the stars, tending to the lost and teaching those who will inherit his future. He has the Steward of Learning destiny trait. When working as a planet governor, will increase resources from researchers. Again, like the other ones, it's 3% per level. Oh, I like the backpack one. I'm a little creeped out by this guy. That is a weird looking alien. I like the teddy. The teddy reflects the alien. That's some clever artwork. But this thing creeps me out. I'm not sure I want him on my crew. Balhask Guron. Guron fought 100 battles for pay, pride, and principle until all 3 rang hollow. Now he fights for the sheer joy of the struggle and for the trophies left behind. He looks like a happy soul, doesn't he? This is the kind of guy I can see leading a Carnet. Look at him. He's a happy guy. He's got a skull on his head. He's got 4 arms, a massive club. He is a joyous warrior. That is his destiny trait. Successful planetary invasion offers a chance to recover a trophy. Trophies are stored in a trophy hall, stacking its effects. Ooh, okay. That's very vague. I wonder what that could mean. He's looking good, isn't he? Then we have Sarah Loon, the Lost Princess. She's a legendary paragon, and we recognise her, don't we? She's only 17 as well. She's very young. For one so young, Sarah Loon carries the weight of lost roads, yet she possesses a calm that steadies those around her and a strength that asks for nothing. So this was the lady that I believe we saw in the trailer, who ordered the Exodus jump that wiped out a bunch of marauders. Sarah Loon steps onto your bridge and politely requests passage. She is the youngest of our new Paragons, but she is remarkably accomplished. She possesses the amnesiac trait and the story chain that grows out of it. Ooh, we get a story. Nice. As time passes, scraps of memory will surface as a strange feeling, a familiar name, and perhaps even the silhouette of a system she swears she has seen before. She'll mark places in the galaxy that pull at her, and if your Arkship is willing to go where she points, you may begin to learn what she lost. You will, despite yourself, find yourself rooting for the lost princess. We can't wait to see where you take her, but you'd better keep her safe from the dangers that wait out there, especially since the rewards for aiding her are rather extensive. Oof, very cool. Our earliest brief had this character as royalty, but it wasn't locked in whether or not they would be male or female, only that they were dethroned in exile. My very first sketches were of an older, sweet and appealing character. I still like her and hope we can get her in somewhere else. You should. That's a really cool looking character, especially with this floating sun thing in the background. Very cool indeed. Okay, moving on. The Stellaris 10-year anniversary merchandise store. One of the common questions that we get is, where can I get one of those Stellaris bomber jackets? I have asked that question before. And today we have an answer, because I never got one previously. Yeah, okay. The answer was Paradox Careers page. Now we get a merch store button. The store also has a new blog body pillow, pins, magnets, hoodies, a Swolfin beach towel, playing cards, a glow-in-the-dark Rick the Cube poster, and more. I certainly hope that I can get my hands on the bomber jacket, the blog pillow, and obviously the Swolfin towel. I'd love to be on holiday. If you're walking down the strip somewhere and you see someone on a Swolfin Stellaris 10-year anniversary towel, you go up and give that person a high five. Or better yet, go up to them and say something only someone that would know Stellaris would understand. Maybe a little bit out there, like, I don't know. Genocide is fun, right?
Obviously, don't go and do that, please.
Hey, you do whatever you like.
We can't condone anything of the sort.
No, we can't. Live!
And the final thing to say is, next week we are getting closer to release, so we'll be covering the Stellar Cannon, the civics of Nomads, the Exodius Jump Spinal Mount, how embarking and settling works, and we'll hunt for our new pre-scripted Empire. See you then.